right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to MLS Monday. Happy Monday. We are very close to the holidays, 9 days away, if memory serves me correctly. So today we're going to talk about lead generation and some of the tools that we've got inside the MLS to help you generate leads, which will get you more prospects, will ultimately get you more clients and customers, and ultimately close more transactions. So that is what we are talking about today. I will say, if you have got a question, we do have our Q&A open. You can pop your questions inside of there, not the chat, but the Q&A section there. On the bottom, a couple quick kind of reminders or announcements, if you will. We do have TechCon 2025 coming up on March 25th next year. It is a Tuesday. It's from 9 till 3. Put it in your calendar if you want to attend. Last year, we had about 160 of our subscribers and members that came out and joined us for TechCon. It was amazing. We had great speakers and a lot of technology type conversations. This year will be different, will be better. We'll have more dynamic speakers. We've got Craig Grant coming back. I just booked another speaker last week who is an influencer in real estate. She writes for Inman. She writes for Housing Wire. She owns her own company. That's a tech and data company. An amazing individual who will be with us. Her name's Diana. She'll be joining us as well as one of the speakers. We've got a couple of our CEOs of the technology that we use every single day that will be on a panel discussion. And then we've got some really good, solid realtors that are fantastic at social media that will be doing a panel discussion as well at there. So you don't want to miss that. Put it in your calendar. Nothing's out yet for registration, but we do anticipate us selling out. It will be a DoubleTree as it was last year. So that is that piece of information. On to the next. So we have got a couple more spots available for the ABR, which is accredited buyer representation. With the changes of the lawsuit and the new business rules, it has been rewritten. There is a 200-page manual that comes with the course, and Cynthia DeLuca will be teaching that this week. So this is a free designation. We've never offered a free designation to my knowledge before, but we do have that coming with us this week on Wednesday and Thursday. So right before the holidays, 2 solid days, but it will get your ABR, and it'll make you better with your buyers. It'll teach you how to do a buyer presentation and how to get the buyer broker agreement signed and all the things that has been changing in 2024. So with that, you got anything else you want to add?
No, it's just, I know with everybody saying lately, we were getting calls that it's been quiet. Everybody's getting ready for the holidays. So I think it's a really good time. If you're going to sit in a class for 2 days, you don't already have vacation planned, come sit with us, do ABR, start your year off strong.
Yep, absolutely. I think it's a great opportunity. I think there's only, if memory serves me correctly, 10 seats available.
Yeah.
So it will bust out by the seams there. So, so thank you for joining us. So we're going to talk about lead generation. I'm going to give you a little bit kind of an overview on my perception and my thought process on lead gen. There's 2 types of lead gen. There is online lead gen, which we'll talk about today, and then there's offline lead gen, which we'll also talk about today. The lead generation is important because it fills your pipeline. The difference between what we do here and what I did for 18 years and Joanna did as well, and what you do every day is you wake up every day unemployed, right? So we come in, we do our job. There's some security to that, but for 18 years, I woke up unemployed every single day. So it's about how many more people can I get into my database, my CRM, that may need my services in the future, and that I could either list a house, sell a house, get a referral to help another client. How can I make money today? So lead generation is what you need to build to have your business thrive. With that, you need strategies. And I'll tell you, as you go through this today, and if you've got questions on it, you can go ahead and email us after if you have any questions on the actual program itself that we're going to show you. But it's about consistency. When I ran my brokerage and I had 100 agents and we did these classes on lead gen, and we had some agents that would get 100, 150 new leads in a week. And then we had, and so after a month, they got 600, 700, 800 people, and they do it for 3 months, and they'd end up with, 1,500 people. And they were working with only 10 that were willing, ready, and able to buy today. And then you had the rest that were kind of like, I did it for a day, I did it for a week, it didn't work. So if what you try to do doesn't work, then you need to switch up your strategy, because consistency is where the rubber hits the road. If I do something over and over and over again, you're going to get better at it. And you're also going to get better results at it. And if you need to switch something up, but the way you're doing it, then that's what you should do. I would tell you that it's important to both have online and offline lead gen. I'm great online. I think I'm better in person. Meeting somebody at a social event, meeting somebody at a gala or something like that, just having a conversation. But it's, we both have our strengths and weaknesses. I'm good online. I'm good at capturing the leads and getting people to convert, but I feel I'm better in person. And that's maybe in my own head. I might not be better in person. I may be more confident in person, that if I was going to buy a house from somebody, I wouldn't probably do it through the internet, myself personally speaking. But if I met somebody like Joanna, and I was at a restaurant or an event or a charity event, and we started talking, and during conversation, I found out that she sells real estate, and we end up with a connection, and I get a card, and I feel confident with her, and she knows what she's talking about. That could lead to something. So you need both, in my mind. Okay. Next, I would tell you need to really focus on who is my client. What's my niche? When I started selling real estate in 2005, here in Lee County, I came out with guns a-blazing. I said, I'm going to sell real estate from Marco Island all the way up to Sarasota, everything in between.
Anybody and anybody.
Anybody and anybody. And it just doesn't work. And I've had several niches going through my career. I started out, with foreclosures and short sales. And then I went into second homes for people. I worked for a company, did property management for Airbnb type of stuff. And so I got involved in that and a lot of second homes, and then they would take them into the rental piece. And then I got into what I thought was my favorite, which was somebody's future retirement home. So people that today are my age that were looking 10 to 12 years, 15 years in advance, going, I want to buy today so I can use it a little bit, but it is going to be where I retire to. And I got into that niche, and it was a niche. It was people that I got all those leads from financial planners, that people are saying, listen, I got 15 years before I want to retire, and I got those leads from them. So figure out your niche, figure out where you want to work, identify your audience, because if you're doing something generic online, as we're going to show you today, you're probably not going to get the results that you're looking for with that. Also, understand what that person's persona is. The person that is looking to retire, my niche, which was most of my career, was that 50-year-old looking to retire in 15 years, wanting to buy that house, wanting to maybe generate some cash off of it, or maybe be able to buy at today's prices, because in 15 years I wouldn't be able to afford that house. And I did that with a piece of land about 10 years ago that, quite frankly, I wouldn't be able to afford that piece of land today that I still own. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I couldn't afford to buy it today. So, buying at today's prices for tomorrow's use, that is a specific persona. Those are people that are in their 50s. They drive a sedan. They got a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. They're typically salaried, over 6 figures, typically married. They have a financial planner. They have an estate attorney. These are people, because once I knew they had a financial planner and estate attorney, because that's the persona, when I went out and networked with people through chamber events and through networking events, I looked for those types of people, right? Financial planners and the attorneys that do the estate, because I knew that's where those people were already connected to, more than likely, right? My persona. If you're doing first-time home buyers, you may want to connect with the wedding community, right? Knowing that those people, they buy a house, they may have a condo to sell here. He may be renting, she's selling her condo, and they're going to buy a house together. So you want to connect with those people. So know where your persona is and who that person is that you're looking for. It makes it so much more clear on this is who I need to go after, versus casting that big net out there, right? So that's that piece of it. And then you can use data and information in the MLS as well to kind of define that. If you're like, well, I don't know who my niche is, I would tell you two things. If you've been in sales for 2 years, look back at your past 2 years of clients, or beyond that if you've been in it longer. They're going to tell you, right? I didn't go out one day and wake up and go, I want to work with 50-year-olds that are retired in 15 years, right? It just kind of what happened. And then I really focused on it, and it was able to basically take me from 10 to 20 to 30, 40, 50 houses a year, because those people also hang out with those types of people. You know, 50-year-olds aren't hanging out with a 25-year-old. They're hanging out with other 50-year-olds that are saying, oh, I just bought a house in Fort Myers or Cape Coral, and my realtor is X, Y, and Z. And they're having those conversations. The people they work with are within their age group. So understand the persona of the person. All right. So we're gonna go through some of these actual programs today, and take you through what you can use and what works. So I'm gonna take over the keyboard and your blue mouse real quick here. So I'm gonna share my screen, everybody, and hopefully you guys can see it.
Green button.
Yeah, I know. This mouse is so weird. It doesn't fit my hand. Just move slow. All right, so let me share my screen with you. And we're going to start with just the MLS itself. So this is your dashboard. I'm logged in as Joanna. Joanna's logged in as herself. But this is just the normal everyday screen that you've got there. I'm going to move you guys to the bottom here. And so the first place I'm going to go to talk about this is, you know, what are you looking to get? You're looking at buyers or sellers. Sometimes you may be looking to double side your transaction, which is fine. But the first place we're going to go to is Remine. Okay. So you should be able to see my screen up here. Now, part of lead gen, whether it's offline or online, I would consider this quasi online, but you know, you need to get it from somewhere. And part of that online lead gen is through farming. And so what I did was I pulled up kind of what an area that I used to farm, an area I used to live in. I lived in Moody River for a long time. And so this was kind of my farm area. You should, I always tell people you should own where you live. It's a lot easier to meet somebody walking the dog or taking the trash out or picking the mail in your own neighborhood, right? They probably call the cops on you if you're taking the trash out in somebody else's yard, or taking their mail. But it's easier for you to basically to work and play and that type of stuff where you live.
And it should be something you enjoy, right?
Yeah, and everybody's always afraid of, you know, I don't want somebody knocking on my door. Listen, if somebody's got to knock on your door because you're not doing that good of a job, you probably is a problem.
You might be in the wrong industry.
Yeah. So what I did here is I put the zip code in. 33903 is North Fort Myers. This is a very large area here. Moody River is right about here, the 5,000 mark, but you'll see we got 10,000 plus results. Okay. And so that's a lot. If you're going to mail this area and it was $2 a postcard, it costs you 20 grand every 2 months to mail this, which is just asinine. So Remine will help you build yourself a list of something that you can do and repeat it consistently. And I would tell you, my program may not work for you. You can rely on your broker or real estate coach, whoever you got. I used to mail out every two months. So I mailed out 6 mailers with strong call to action, which is part of what lead gen is strong call to action. And so there's different ways you can filter here, right? So on the left-hand side, I got property value. So, you know, what is your niche that you're looking for? Again, I was also not only helping people buy homes in their 50s, my sellers were also in their 50s, 45 to 55, 60 years old. So that was what I was selling too. Sometimes they came down and bought something a long time ago. They were empty nesters at that time, right? Kids went off to college, whatever, it just didn't fit them anymore. So that whole ecosystem of that 50-year-old person, that persona, worked on buy and the sell side. So let me show you what I would do. I don't want to play necessarily under the $500,000 range. Okay. So I would hit these other buttons here and hit apply. Now you'll see up here in the right-hand corner, it says results. I got over 10,000 results here. Okay. So I'm going to hit apply on this. I got my results down to 1,237 results. Okay. Now that's still very expensive to mail to if you're going to mail those. So There's a couple ways you can do this. And again, you got to define where your results are. And I'll tell you, I went after home equity. You can do a percentage. I thought, people have to cover closing costs. So I did 25% home equity. And if you hit apply, it's going to take you down to 90 results. Okay. And then the last thing that I would do is do the sell score, high and medium, and apply. And I'm going from 90 down to 6. Those 6 people have at least 25% equity in their home. They have a sell score that's medium to high. What does that mean? Well, it would be a waste of time to mail to somebody who just closed on their house a year ago or 2 years ago, right? It'd be a waste of time if somebody went out and took a home equity line of credit and redid their kitchen. Most people will redo a room in their house to enjoy a few years, maybe not 5 years, but they want to enjoy at least a year or 2. So they may not be ready to necessarily sell. So those people are filtered out. Now, if you go back up here, to home equity, and you completely erase that. Actually, go up here, just take that out. Boom. I go from 90 or 6 up to 106. Okay. So maybe the equity is not important. Maybe their driver is leaving the area because of a job transfer. Okay. This is an area where people live primarily because they work and play here, not because they vacation here. Then equity may not matter, right? They're going to move no matter what. They got a job with Johnson & Johnson. They got to move to Maine. They're leaving regardless. So sometimes leaving the equity out depends on where you're looking at, makes more sense. Okay. And then, so you could play with this as well. NAR says everybody leaves between, 5 and 10 years. Well, maybe I want to look at the people 10 to 15 years and apply there. But now I'm down to 23, and notice it's all in that area of Moody River. So again, you're going from this massive 10,000 homes down to what's very doable with regards to this of 23. Okay. Now, as you look in this area here, okay, you're going to have some here that are already sold. 154 days of market sale expired. They're expired. They're a lease and it closed 192 days on market. So you got sales and everything else. Now, up here, you got a bunch of ways you can sort by price, by bathrooms, by beds. If you did by price, you're going to go lower to higher, and then you can reverse that. So now I'm only dealing with homes. And you can go in here and look and see this one was on the market for 154 days. That's the pictures, that's the description, the agent, all the information's in here. You can make the decision whether or not you want to mail to them. And the nice thing about not doing 100 or 200 is I can literally put my postcard together and do a label, or I can send them a letter talking about why use me as a realtor and put in an envelope that they may actually open and handwrite the 23 addresses versus having it look like a piece of junk mail, right? Because people, including myself, I sort my mail by the trash can, right? There's some things I don't even open. It looks like garbage. But if it looks like a wedding invitation or an invitation to a gala or something, birthday card, well, I'm going to open that, right? If it's handwritten, your open rate goes up 50%, right? So just doing labels, or you say, well, how can I print a bunch of labels? Don't. Go after where the people are going to sell. The data is the data. These are people that are not new. They have a high sell score. They've been there for 10 years. You could be the person, okay? So you got to figure out what you're going to send them, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But you can go through here and look at this price, where they're at. And then down here, you've got information about ranges on this as well, okay? You get the demographic. And then the best part about this is you've got information about the owner, okay? And you also got buy scores, right? That means they probably looked at signing up on a portal or something. They have to sell probably to buy. But if you pull up Rosemary on here, okay, you've got do not call, which is DNC, but you've got 2 phone numbers here, okay? In some cases, you'll have email, right? So it depends on what kind of prospector you are or lead gen person you are. If those were not DNC, which is do not call registry, you do not want to call them because they've registered their phone number, but they are not it won't have that orange, that red dot there with DNC.
Mhm.
I'd call them, right? Hey, listen, my name is Jason. I work for ABC Realty here. I'm in the area. I live in your community. I'd like to know if you ever thought about selling your house. No, not that, not. Do you mind if I drop some things in the mail about our community and what's going on inside our community? Yeah, absolutely. So there's ways for you to actually engage with them other than just mailing them, okay? And obviously on here too, you've got their home address. If they're not getting their mail there, and this is actually Woody River, if they're not getting their mail there, if they're a buyer that's not here homesteaded, they'll have their home address where they're getting their tax bill. All that information is in Remind. So it's not hard to use. It's all about filtering information, data out. But I can handwrite 23 of these every other month. I'm losing my voice, which is probably good for everybody. I could do 23 of these handwritten on my kitchen table. Not hard, right?
Mhm.
And send those out. Get something they're going to actually open up. You can also select all of these as well. You can actually export these. You can save your search. You can add these here to a cart. And I can name this cart something here. I'm going to call it my example cart. I can add the 23 properties to that cart. So now I still have those. I can watch to see if they've ever been listed now, because I may not gotten them fast enough, or they chose another realtor, they're now listed. I take them off the list.
Mhm.
But now you've got a cart you can go to here and look at what they have. And if you've got, you just go to carts here, these 23 will be in here. Now I can go to these and say, okay, well, I've got this cart I just did called example. I can see where that property's at, if it's still in the market, not in the market, if it went pending, etc. These are all those I just did. And you can just really see here, this is active, that's expired. These are ones I just added, okay? So you'll see them. Very easy to do. So that's one way of prospecting, is using this tool. This used to be a $200 a month. When this first came out, we had the basic for the MLS.
Mhm.
The MLS upgraded this to the deluxe model. The Aston Martin of systems, which you've got the phone numbers, the emails, the addresses, the sort, the cell score, right? And that's an algorithm that they have way beyond my pay grade. But I can tell you from using it, it works.
Mhm.
And again, you got to set the money aside to do it 6 times. Your content that you're sending them has to be good. You can't have spelling errors. You can't have, I get stuff at my house all the time. I'd be like, I would not hire this person as a dog walker. And I don't even have a dog, let alone to list my property, because they can't spell. So make sure you're putting something forward that's really kind of unique, that it has a good call to action. So call me for more information. Call me to get on my mailing list of pricing. Include some graphics that may have pricing through Domus Analytics or something else. Give them a CMA. And 23 of these, you can literally send, and this works, do a quick CMA on what your house is worth today, because nobody else is doing that. People are trying to take the easy button and make a phone call or what have you. But if you took the time to do a quick CMA and say your property today is worth this and you bought it for this, then may trigger somebody to go, honey, I wasn't thinking about selling, but maybe we should move back closer to the kids.
Well, you can still press the easy button. You go through Remind. They've got all of those different valuations. Just use that chart right there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
you
see
can
all
still-
the different
won't take long.
valuations
Yeah.
based on, compared to Zillow and American Title.
Yeah, so if you look at that on the bottom here, that's the same house we just had up.
Yeah.
But on the bottom here, you got the valuations here. So, average valuation estimate for your home is 641,574. Right? Now we don't know what they had it. Well, they had it listed for 699, right? But you could also say, there's a range of your house by First American that says it's from 625 to 747. Give me a call to find out how I can get it sold. Call to action, right? People will pick up the phone and call. When my coach told me to do this, I thought he was, I did it because I spent a lot of money on him, but I thought he was nuts. And the phone did not ring month 1, first mailing, second mailing, or third mailing. The phone did not ring. My phone did not ring until the 4th mailing went out, which was already 8 months into it. But because I was only doing 65 homes, right, with strong calls to action, I didn't care. It wasn't breaking the bank. I was spending $200 on this, right? It's a nice night out at Cooper's Hawk. So it didn't matter. So this is a great way to look at getting listings for you. It's a longer burn, but so is buyers sometimes. Buyers come down and they have a long burn as well.
They will
Okay.
kick tires longer than that seller will.
Yep. All right, so let's shift a little bit. We're halfway through our time. We'll shift to the buyer side, right? So on the buyer side, it's all about getting people to be excited about photos, being excited about an area, being excited about new construction, being excited about what Fort Myers offers. So there's a lot of different ways that you could generate leads online with this stuff. And we've got a tool that we're going to show you, actually a couple that I think you'll really like. The first tool I want to go to here is Builders Update. A lot of people don't use this. And again, if we go back to the actual dashboard, Builders Update is somewhere on the dashboard, if I can find it. Here it is, left here, Builders Update. It's a black tile. You click onto that, and you're going to go up to Builders Update. Okay. And this is a great way. If you go up to my tools, you got new home spotlights, you got 24-hour concierge, which is basically a search for new construction. Manage home buyers. So people sign up, you can actually go here. And if you click on this, you can manage or invite people to search new homes attached to you, so that you become the source of information on new construction. One of the biggest frustrations before this tool came about was, a lot of these people that were 50 that wanted to move when they were 65, but buy the house today at these prices, we're looking at new construction because the house wouldn't need much in 15 years versus a house that was already 20 years old, right? That was a mentality. So a lot of this stuff, I had to go manually pull this information and look at it. So now it's at your fingertips. You can invite somebody to search. You can upload home buyers. If you already got them in your CRM, you can upload a CSV file and get all your home buyers looking for new construction to do that. Save listings that you have for your email options on this as well. Oh, it's making me log in again. Maybe. All right. But I think the coolest thing is this thing here. This is a widget. It's an icon that you can put on any website that you have permission to add in a widget, as they call them, onto a website. So if you're using the Agent 3000 website or using, anything else, I don't know what comes to mind website wise, but there's a lot of vendors out there. You can add this widget in there and it will look like, new construction. Click here to search. It's kind of a cool deal to have on there. And I had that on my website when I was practicing real estate. I had that on my website, so you'd have that there. Okay. And then you have new home construction specialist certificate. There's a whole certificate you can go through on here. I'm going to bounce out of here and go back into it. So I have it new. So again, this covers a large area that's on here on new construction. So if you go up to my tools again and you go to 24-hour concierge and you go to manage, I've done some stuff already, so I can show the results of what I did in here. And these are the new construction homes. They're all off of Legal Road, but you can set up for price range of 450 to 985 at a 3-4 or 2-3 at a 2-3 car garage. And I put the zip code in. Okay. And then down here, you can actually go through and look at who the builder is. Taylor Morrison's in there. Most of the big builders are in here. And then you could actually pull this up and look at the home itself. They got floor plans. They've got, pretty much anything you'd want. And this is what your customer would see too, and be branded to you. Okay. Contact information, etc. So you got all the information you need here on this. X out of there. You set up your profile. I highly recommend this. Make sure you upload a picture. What? It's Taylor Swift. Make sure you upload a picture. Your headshot in here. It doesn't automatically carry it over. You got to upload this manually. You got to put your logo in here. Joanna's having a real hard time with Taylor on here. So it's important that you have that in there. So do that. We got a question. Where's my question?
Go to more. I see your hand is raised, Tina, but if you could put it in the Q&A. Oh, yep, there you go.
It's in Q&A. Builders now allowing buyer registration through Builders Update. I don't think all buyers are.
All builders.
All builders rather are allowing
some
that.
of them have it like built in on their site and they link it through, but every builder has a different system that they're doing right now. So it's based on what their website allows and doesn't allow.
Yeah. I'll just tell you from a practitioner, I made sure I went to every single one of them, had relationships. I went when I was
I
bored.
always walked him in the door.
I was walked in the door, and when I was bored, I went and met all the salespeople and called them on the phone. Because it was a time, and I remember specifically, it was a builder out in Babcock, and I called the guy. I said, "Listen, my clients are going to stop by. Uh, I need to register them. Can I register them over the phone with you? I'm with clients right now, and they wanted to stop by. I've been telling them to come in all week. They didn't want to be that far out, but they called me and say we're gonna drive by and look at it. So I registered them over the phone, but it was because I had a relationship with the person that answered the phone. So go out, tour it, get your information on it. But
Okay.
this is a great way for you to get new construction when they want it. All right, we got a couple more questions here. All right.
Can you create a buyer portal? If so, does that negate the builder buyer registration? Sorry if redundant. No, so for the buyer portal, basically what you would be doing is signing them up on builders update so that they could go out and search and they would get updates, kind of like in Matrix, but it's where the buyers have put on all the information about their communities, not just their listings. It's more exploratory than Matrix, but it's going to work like Matrix when you set them up in there. Does that negate the builder's buyer registration? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it does not negate it.
They've got their own programs.
Yeah, every builder's got their own deal. They're all, Lennar and DR Horton, all these companies are independent.
Some of them have like extensive things that they want you to sign, and some of them it's just, no, just give me the information.
Yeah,
So,
some is easy to fill out a card, some has online. They're all different, and that's the challenging part. So that's why one of these things here, to have you be able to look at some of the inventory already out there, floor plans, and really, looking at that as being that agent that has extensive knowledge on new construction. People want to know, you know, that that area. So if you've got this on your website, you install that widget, you're putting them in new construction, that you can service them effectively there. People want to know that. And I will tell you, I tell this story, I told it to orientation a couple weeks ago, or last week, whenever it was. I'm finally in the market here. I haven't had a realtor I had to use since 2004 in Lee County. I've been licensed and bought my own houses and stuff, and always representing myself, which, I had a fool for a client. But I'm using a realtor now. So, and one of the things they haven't done is set me up on a portal for new construction. That's specifically what I was looking at. So, and not to be built, but already built inventory homes. So, you've got that. Shows how to set up a sample bio. Yep. So if you go to my tools here, and you go ahead and do the manage 24-hour concierge, you set that up, which I did. Okay. Down here, you're gonna put in there, if I did large single family home search with my name, to be built and current inventories differently, or you could do all inventory that they've got. Okay, you're gonna set this search up. You set the search up first on this system, and then you'll add the client. So then you're gonna do manage home buyers. You could invite somebody to search, which is very simple. First name, last name, phone number, email, and hit invite. They'll come in. Or you'll have people that are active. So I can manually go in here and add a new home buyer. So if I wanted, I try to add myself on here, but it didn't work out because my email address is already on here. And so I hit invite, it wouldn't invite me to it, since it already existed. So
just do Joanna. SWFO at Gmail.
all right, so I'll invite Joanna.
Already exists. Okay, well, we're all in there.
We're all in there with emails, but you basically will pull add your home buyer in there and then attach one of your searches to them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you can attach as many searches as you want. So yeah, look at the buyer's one person and then the search is second, you're just connecting them.
Yeah.
So you can set up as many searches as you want and just connect them with as many as you want to. is the easiest way to use this.
Yeah. And they've got like the little question mark button up there. They've got their own videos as well that can walk you through each section of this portal, because there is multiple things that it does for you. And if
Mhm.
there is a need for it, we can spend an entire MLS Monday on using this portal as well.
Yeah, we could probably look at doing that. But yeah, they've got a lot of stuff on here. New home certification specialist certificate. You can go through here and register for this. It takes you through a bunch of stuff. On that, email options you've got here, receive newsletters. So a lot of stuff on here. I think it's one of the most underutilized tools. But Taylor here is using it. But yeah, one of the most underutilized tools we probably have. So, and then you can add things to a cart, a listing cart, custom builder cart. So if you're just doing a builder like Taylor Morrison, you could do that. Yeah, kind of a cool product. All right. So moving on from there, next is Agent 3000. So that's this tile here, Agent 3000, and we are going to go into here. So I don't know how many of you currently use this. I'm going to pull up some questions, make sure we answered everybody. Okay. That. The question came in, and if I embedded the widget into my website, will it make them enter their info? Yes. So if you embed that widget, it's going to take them back to your page, your profile, and we'll have them sign up. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Moving on to Agent 3000. This is a really cool tool. I'm going to touch on probably the three biggest things in here for lead gen. And the first one is your landing pages. So you've got a whole lot of opportunities. These are where the leads actually go. We got a whole lot of opportunities here to create landing pages of listings and drop them in here and capture leads. A lot of people always say, well, where do you put these leads? You know, when you get them, how do I advertise it? Social media is probably the #1 area on your business page to drive traffic, right? If you have a big audience, and the key to growing a big audience on social media, we all started with 0 when we started our pages. When I gave mine up, I had almost 10,000 people that followed that business page. But it's about engaging content. And believe it or not, the #1 engaging content is videos. And a lot of people don't like to do videos. But I literally did a video. It's long gone now because the page is down. But I did a video every week on where they're at with building Margaritaville on Fort Myers Beach. And it was just a video of walking around it. And I post that video every week. I have people that would follow it just to watch Margaritaville being built. And then when they grand opened, I was at the grand opening and did a video on that. And then the lady recognized me there and let me tour 2 of the rooms. I did videos on that. So I became the Margaritaville advertising guy, but it grew me to almost 4,000 people started following me just because of that one project. So if you are passionate about downtown or passionate about gardening or passionate about food or whatever it may be, make sure you're sprinkling some of that into your page so that people start to follow you. Because if they're not in the market to buy or sell a house, they're just not going to follow you. And your audience won't be big enough for you to start to really, I would take it leads. I say business page because you're going to want to put some fuel behind this and do some pay-per-click on the advertising piece. Okay. Because if you're going to put $100 behind one of these squeeze pages, you'll probably hit a couple hundred people. And if you even catch one person that signs up that you can work with, that's a huge win. Okay. And we got some exciting news at the end of this that we'll talk about. Joanna's smiling. I feel like Santa Claus today. All right. So a couple things here. Your landing pages are down here in the landing pages. So again, you're going to want to name your landing page here. Okay. You're going to add contact information, add your contact information. Again, follow advertising rules in 475, which states you've got to identify yourself, your brokerage, contact information. So follow those rules, etc. So I'm going to give you one that I did. I did one before. I'm going to walk you through doing it. You select your image. This will be an image on your computer, right? So these are all images on Joanna's computer. let's put a really cool house. That's a cool house. So you pick your image, and I move my bar again over here. Select that, okay? That'll be the house that's there. And you're gonna call to action text, right? So what do you want them to do on this ad? So you can put on your, call me for a list of single family homes. Under $230,000 in capable, whatever. Okay, do your call to action. The button would be send me the list, right? And then an email address you want these leads to go to. I already get enough emails
Thanks.
on there. And then what are you required them to do? So you can include continue with Facebook button on landing page, which is cool because you're gonna capture their information that they have in Facebook. But you may want to also require a name and maybe an email address. Okay. I would tell you just from testing this out myself and using this prior, the more information you ask, the less you're going to actually sign up. So sometimes less is more. I'd rather somebody that I capture that I can put into a database, I can send them an email, than require them to put, an address, a phone number, yada, yada, yada. Okay.
We always saw a lot more turnover when you've got the Facebook button in there. Facebook will pull in their name, their email, and their phone number. And if that's all you require, they click that button, it fills it out for them, and they go forward. If you require an address, Facebook's not going to fill that out for them.
Correct. Yeah. So that's my ad, right? So I'm gonna hit submit for my landing page. Oh, what did I do wrong? Enter a landing page name. Oh. I'm gonna call it me. All right, hit submit. I'll type you this wrong. Save the database. All right, so we're good. So I did one earlier. It's this landing page here. So this is a great, it's a description of a house, basically, of this house, etc. It doesn't really have a call to action on it, but this is where I do continue with Facebook. So if they click on that, it's going to ask my email, my phone, and log in for Facebook. All right, and I can do the send me my free list now. I got to enter my name. Okay, so I enter my name and my phone number and send me my free list now. I'll get it. Your list will be requested and be in touch shortly. Okay, so this is great. So where you would put this is copying this basically URL and put it into a Facebook ad with graphics, something that's going to catch their eye. So when you talk about lead generation, you're talking about what I call stopping the scroll. You'll see people that are scrolling on their phones. You want to stop the scroll. How do you do that? Well, very simple. You need to put emojis in there. You need to use capital letters. You need to use bold letters. You need to write it. You need to leave some blank space, what we call under the fold. So on an actual message on your phone, it will have 2 lines of text, right? And they'll hit the more. You want them to hit that more button. So if you got some blank space and it says more, but there's nothing there, they'll hit the more to read the rest. So it's called under the fold. So you want to make sure that you're writing it so that it falls under the fold, the main call to action. Use emojis to get their attention. Use capital letters to get their attention. Use a fantastic picture to get their attention on your post. But you would do the post on your business page. You would copy and paste this URL into that post and say, click here for more information. And they would click here to landing page. You could talk about, I got the foreclosure list. I've got the new construction list. I've got whatever it is you're going to provide to them, because the idea of an actual lead gen system is I'm providing you with information, my phone number, my name, my email, and you're providing me with something that's of value in exchange for that information. And that's what the lead gen piece is. So as you look at that and you do this, test it out. As you get better at it, you throw more money at it, right? You don't start with a $100 budget. You start with a $10 budget and see if it works. And it'll tell you how many people you will actually be able to catch with that. And we'll probably put on your notes, we can do just a Facebook and Instagram lead gen, MLS Mondays, have this stuff already done and do some live on some accounts.
Think part of that training is going to come in the future with your
my
lovely
announcement.
surprise you've got for everybody.
My announcement. Yes. So this is that lead page there on it. You can have as many of these as possible that you want, right? And then you can delete them if you're done. We delete this one. Yes, we want to delete it. It didn't work for us. It's not working for us. I'm not keeping it. On here, you'll get Facebook Pixels, which is really advanced, and Google Analytics. So you can also promote that on Google pay-per-click and promote it to the top of a list when people start looking for homes in Southwest Florida or foreclosure list, etc. It would boost it up and you'd be a paid advertising on the top of Google search on that as well. So these are codes you put in for that. All right, so this is the biggest one out there that they've got, in my opinion, that works really well. There's some other ones I want to touch on here. There's some Facebook marketing tools here as well. You got some social media memes. So again, these are things you can post in there, not necessarily driving leads, but when I talked about a graphic that's going to get people's attention, a graphic like how's the Ohio weather treating you is a great a great graphic. And then if you on Facebook, you can actually say, I am going to target only Ohio on your pay-per-click, right? On your field that you're putting behind this, and only go toward there. Okay. And you could also have a destination link, which is kind of cool. So if I took this actual URL here and I made this my destination link on here, and I picked my how's your Ohio. Oh, I saw working on that.
And then magnifying glass top corner,
Yeah. Where are you at?
hover over it, top corner right
Oh, right there. Okay. So I need my glasses.
there.
Need my glasses. All right. So click here, find a home. If you click on that, oh, this is going back and forth. All right, that's just enlarging it.
Yeah, you would download it when you download it, and
Yeah, download it. Then when you open
It
it,
will be
it have this
clickable.
URL built into it.
yes.
So now you can just post that on your normal page. People click on the picture and it's going to take them to that squeeze page or that landing page.
And if you get stuck like Jason did, there's a YouTube video in the top corner.
Right here. Watch the video. Watch the video. All right. You funny. All right. So flyers. We're going to touch about that. Single property websites. Another great tool. You'll have to put your listing number in here. So let me go grab a listing. Let me grab this listing right here. Single property websites are important. When I sold my house way back in the day in Texas, my agent offered this. I thought it was the nicest thing since sliced bread. So that would be your single property website. Come up here.
Multiple templates in there too.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's easy to do. And again, if you're going to start promoting the stuff and copying these URL and sending them out, this is great to do that. Is this going to, oh, that's not Taylor. This is, it's not going to necessarily draw you a lead, but it's recognition. It's getting your listing out there, may get your phone to ring, right? Because you have this send message here.
Mhm.
And you've got this carousel, you could actually do pictures in this carousel. So a lot of great things on this as well, that you could get leads. They could call you directly, where it's not maybe a pay-per-click, but they're seeing this really cool website, want to see the house. So they're calling you directly.
No, so except with that, you've got questions down at the bottom.
I do have questions. All right, we got questions. Are they on the top or the bottom? Number 31.
You've already done those.
All right.
Oh,
So question is, I embedded that web.
that's one we already answered. I see you guys raised your hands again. If you can, just use that Q&A at the bottom.
Yeah, if you use a Q&A at the bottom, I see hands up. Rachel's got her hands raised. Use the Q&A on the bottom, type your question there. Or Rachel.
Rochelle.
No, I can't see.
We're gonna get him glasses, guys. It's okay.
I thought I'm somewhere in this room.
But on this page, there is multiple ways for them to contact you. Like he said, you've got your contact information there, but the contact me button is up there at the top. There is the send message button. I think they have a button down at the bottom, but there's a lot of ways to get them to click through and contact you.
Yeah, send message on this for more information. I mean, this is a great way, and if somebody likes the house, they will click through.
Mhm.
One of the things, especially this is your listing, you know the house, you're the listing agent, right? I mean, there's a way for them to see that. People come, they drive home from work, they see a sign out in front, they're like, oh, Susie and Billy selling their house. They go inside, they pull up, they see great pictures. great content, good descriptions. That's what they want for their own house. And I'll tell you, this is true because if you really study the brain of the consumer, it's fascinating. Because people want to be better than their competition when it comes to like selling a house, right? Doesn't matter what your personality type is. If I've got to sell my house today, I'm driving home and in my neighborhood, Joanna's house has got a for sale sign in. I'm going to look and see what they have. If I'm looking to sell, my agent either has to meet or exceed that basic marketing, right? But if I see somebody a couple blocks away, look at that house, and that's really done better, and I had a choice between Joanna's realtor and the other realtor, because I'm going to now be in that same competition with the other two. I want something better, right? So always when you're out there, always push yourself. This would be a little bit better than your competition. You'll get a lot of good business from that. Just being that little bit better, like something better. I like the single property website. Got somebody, the deal to sell my house. It was that and the fact that she let me do it my way. I didn't want cards. I didn't want a lockbox. I didn't want any of that kind of stuff. And, she was like, I got a single property website. I looked at this is actually pretty cool. Nobody else I interviewed had it or offered it. Right. And I'm like, this is going to set me upon the other 13 houses in my neighborhood that are for sale. And I had an offer in 3 weeks. So whether or not it's from this or not, it's a perception of the buyer. All right. That question never came through. I didn't see it. So this is the single property website, another great tool for you. Also, you've got sign writers. I love this. So I can go ahead and put my my listing in here. And what I love about Florida is that it rains here all the time, right?
It's gonna open properly.
I don't know if it is either.
Yeah, I don't think they can see that because you're just sharing Chrome.
Okay. I'll share this in a second. Hang on. I got something blocking it anyways, when you do the this download, and if I can get to it, I may have you take over actual steering of that. When you do the actual writer, this will give you the PDF version you get made at any printer that you want to. This will give you a really good. You gotta move that. There you go. So they can go to that website and then put that code in. You'll get the list. You'll get that information. You get their phone number and the house that they called on based on that unique identifier. So when you're looking at drive-by traffic, a lot of people put flyers out in front of their house. That's not necessarily the best use of your money because people take those flyers, you never hear from them. But if you've got a way to contact, and I use contact writers in all my homes, I would literally get between 3 and 5 contacts per month that were good, solid contacts. And that doesn't seem like a whole lot, but if you could sell, again, one more person a home that contacted you off of a rider you've got in a yard, that's one more sale you're going to get. So even though I didn't get a massive amount of phone calls, by the way, none of us have time to take that many calls anyways. So it didn't bother me. I didn't get a whole lot, but the ones I got were solid. There were people that picked up their phone and text that information. All right, what do we got here? Any questions?
It's to your point, I gave a seller some marketing and staging recommendations, even though it wasn't my listing. Listing expires today, and now I get the listing. So
yeah. All right, so let me go over a couple more quick things here. Let me get my handy book out of this. And kind of go over. Yeah, I think we're good on that for now. A couple real quick things. Anybody you get on a lead that comes in, make sure you have a CRM. My biggest mistake in real estate, my first 4 years, I didn't have a really good CRM. I was using spreadsheets. I thought I was able to deal with that. It's not. You need a good CRM. Agent 3000 has one with their websites. Again, they're one of our vendors, but it's one that is inexpensive and has all the bells and whistles of the more expensive websites out there and has a good CRM. You need to be able to put those people into something so you can follow up and leverage that. And then segment them into buyers, sellers, past clients, prospects. Have automatic campaigns that go out on holidays. Stay in front of those people, okay, as much as you can. The other piece is we have Damas Analytics. We've done a couple of different MLS Mondays on that. When you're mailing something out, people want to know how the market's doing. So if it's not a personalized CMA that you're mailing to them, that your farm area, if you're posting graphics, there's a lot of graphics in Damas. Be the market expert. if I'm gonna get my eyes done and have LASIK surgery done, I'm gonna go to Dr. France. Why? Because he's out there everywhere claiming to be the expert. And that's who I want to have touch my eyes, especially with the laser, right? So, be out there as the expert, know the marketplace. The Damas analytics stuff that you can post on social media is fantastic. So make sure you do that. Personalize anything you're sending out, use the client's name and tailor it to their interest on it. Talked about CRMs again. I'll give you a couple of them. Boomtown, KV Core, Follow Up Boss. They're all good. I used all of them. There's paid lead sources as well on different platforms. People hate buying their own leads back, so to speak. So there are pay ones out there. But I will say that you need to make sure you follow up. The fortune of lead gen and all the work you put on, I said, no matter if there's 8 leads that came in on a text message, the key to those 8 leads is a follow-up. And a lot of people get timid on the phone and don't want to call again. I'll leave a message on day 1. I'll put in my CRM to give me a reminder on day 2. I'm calling up again and say, Joanna, I left you a message yesterday. Just want to follow up. You text me about this house on Main Street. Listen, I had 4 showings today. I'd like to have a conversation with you to talk about this on what we could do to get you to look at it. I got availability tonight or tomorrow. Give them the messages, and they may not ever call you back, but I'll tell you, if you ever go look at buying a car, solar panels for your house, or windows or anything else, these people are relentless on follow-up.
I say borderline harassment.
Yeah, I'm a borderline harassment. You want to be professional about it, but we take no so quickly. And I can tell you from personal experience and a book I wrote, 12 no's gets you to a yes. The average person says no 12 times, right? So make sure you're relentless in follow-up. That's where the fortune is. 80% of sales require 5+ follow-ups. Timing is key. Respond to leads within 5 minutes. Doesn't do any good to follow up, a month from now. And I will tell you, I got into real estate. I was working for Chico's. I was looking for a house. I called a mortgage broker. I called an insurance rep, and I called a sign for the realtor at a listing. And I felt that where it was and what I knew about it was my dream home. The mortgage broker called me back the same day as well as the insurance. The person that called me last, which was 6 days later, was the listing agent. And at that point in time, I was already under contract with a house. I didn't remember the house I called on, and it was lost on me. Don't wait that long. 5 minutes, it should be the level there that you're looking at. Again, define what sets you apart from your competition. There's something out there that makes you different. Try to connect people with those differences. Highlight your unique skills, knowledge, and market experience. But not only talking about it, there's an old saying that says talk is cheap. Prove it. Post out the Damas Analytics graphics. Post out their single family or single property website. Post out their lead generation page. Be that person that you can talk a good game. But when you go into a listing appointment, I said I'm in the buying market now. When I talk to agents, the one thing I look at, and they don't know anything I've done or my experience, the one thing I talk about is, what do you do differently? And they tell me, I'm going to do this, and this to sell your home. I'm going to turn around and go to Google. I'm going to Google their name and look to see that they're actually doing that. And if they tell me that they're going to stage my house, and I go to Google and I find their listing and that house is empty, that's a problem. It puts you into this, I don't trust that person.
Mhm.
And they go to the next one and it's not staged. You go to the next one, it's not staged. I'm like, so what you tell them, prove it. They're going to check you out. They're going to check you out. So that's the end of our time.
Yeah,
Anything you want to add on it?
You've got 1 minute, Santa Claus.
So you got nothing else you want to do? Nothing else you want to talk about? All right.
You got
all right.
1 minute.
So we got some exciting news for those of you that are still on here. A couple of you dropped off, so sorry for that. But we're working out a contract with a company called Sphere Builder. Sphere Builder as a sphere of influence. They are a marketing company that basically will do the actual ads for you. Okay. So their entire business model is around it's an advertising company wrapped around the real estate market, knowing that you guys are probably fantastic in front of your customers. You're probably fantastic at doing a listing, fantastic at contract negotiations, fantastic at getting the deal across the finish line. But you may not be the marketer that you want to be, right? And I said, I'm good at the online, I'm good at the in-person, but I would hire somebody because time to me is money, right? I got 168 hours in a week. How I spend those hours My best use of that time is in person at the gala, talking to Joanna about selling her house. Okay. Not trying to figure out how to do meta and get leads in front of people. So they do that. Professional writers, they have you set a budget to do it and promote your listing. It's all based on listings that you currently have to promote it. But they do a fantastic job. When we were vetting the company, we looked at their clients that they have and their MLSs that they do work with. We called some of the people using their actual product. I didn't get one single negative at all. People are getting leads off of it. They're closing deals faster. They're using it in their listing presentation about doing what they call power boost. I'm going to list your house, but I'm going to do a power boost to get it out to the universe. And I got a professional marketing team behind me, and they're providing them with the graphics and information from Sphere Builder. So this should be online probably in early Q1 after you guys get back from the holidays. We are in final contract negotiations, have not been signed yet, but there's nothing in there that we won't get beyond at all, including the data piece was actually pretty clean. So I'm very confident we can get this thing rolled out here in Q1. I spoke to the guy we deal with, his name is Scott. He feels confident we get this out in February to us, to everybody. And then every time you guys get a listing, whatever, you'll get that email that says, hey, you want to boost this up and do a power boost on it. It'll be your decision whether or not you want to. You can unsubscribe from it, but it's additional tool in your toolbox to help you get more leads. So that is coming soon. So that's my surprise.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, we're excited about it. It has nothing to do with what we did on this. We actually planned this one way before we even talked to them. We didn't talk to them until the early part of November, I guess, and then didn't decide to go with them until recently, the end of November. So we already had this MLS Monday done, but the things we talked about, be consistent with it. Don't get frustrated with it. And if you get stuck, there's a ton of videos on there. I learned how to do all this stuff on YouTube, to be honest with you. So.
Awesome. Well, I think you got all the questions answered.
All right. If we don't see you before next week, have a fantastic holiday.